Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
President Obama's Fiscal Commission calls for elimination of President Obama's Safe Schools Czar's office. I'm Matt Barber, Director of Cultural Affairs with Liberty Counsel and Associate Dean with Liberty University School of Law. In today for Matt Staver. And joining me once again in studio is Shawn Akers, Dean of Liberty's Helms School of Government and Policy Analyst with Liberty Counsel. Shawn, we have spoken several times on this program about Kevin Jennings. Kevin Jennings is the founder of GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network. This organization for decades has partnered with the National Education Association in providing curriculum to promote homosexual behavior in our public schools across the country. Kevin Jennings himself is an out and proud homosexual. He is a homosexual activist. And GLSEN, this organization that he co-founded, it's important to point out here, Shawn, is just amazingly has promoted readings to children as young as first grade, but all the way up through high school, that encourages, for instance, one book that GLSEN promotes still on their reading list, their suggested reading list, portrays a number of young boys in first grade, 5- and 6-year-olds, meeting up in restrooms for group sexual activity. It encourages and promotes, essentially, tacitly promotes sexual behavior between adult men and boys, pederasty. Kevin Jennings himself is notorious for, when he was a teacher, admitting that he had a student that he believed to be 15 years old at the time who came to him, acknowledged that he had been enticed and essentially sexually assaulted by an adult male who had picked him up in a bus stop restroom. And did Kevin Jennings call the police? Did he seek to get counseling for this young man? Did he seek to find this sexual predator? No, he told the young boy, wink, wink, nod, nod, I hope you knew to use a condom. Because of this, there has been outrage across the country about President Obama appointing Kevin Jennings to, of all things, the position of Safe Schools Czar. And this man has nothing to do with safe schools. He has everything to do with promoting homosexuality, homosexual behavior in the public schools, and he has a budget of about $1.8 billion, according to CNSnews.com, with which to promote the homosexual lifestyle. Well, now the fiscal that President Obama, the National Commission on Fiscal Responsibility and Reform, is calling for, among other things, in order to save money, not from a moral standpoint, but in order to save money, to just completely cut the Safe Schools Czar position and save that $1.8 billion. And I don't care, what their reasoning is or why they think this needs to be done, but boy, it does need to be done.
Well, I find it fascinating, Matt, from a political standpoint, that what you saw, it depends on how you look at these most recent House and Senate elections. If anything, that was a referendum against Barack Obama's very liberal track policies. Some people are going to, they're never going to let go of this idea that it's purely fiscal. Others understand that there's a social element, that this is a right of center nation, and that people weren't in line at all with this rabidly leftist approach to policy. Either way, what you see here is a group come through and say, one, we have to save money and we have to cut from the budget where we're able to cut, and two, the place where we're able to cut is on President Obama's very leftist, idealistic side that has very little to do with practical leadership of a nation, and a whole lot to do with promoting a super leftist agenda. The super leftist agenda is just taking a real black eye on this one.
Well, and that's an important thing to note here. No one is saying that we need to make our schools less safe, but there's zero evidence that indicates that Kevin Jennings is doing anything to increase the safe environment in public schools. He is using this powerful position he's been given to do what you would expect a homosexual activist to do, to promote homosexuality in the public schools. He's even really in a despicable manner using some of these recent spate of suicides with some of these kids self-identifying as gay as in order to try to push within the public schools homosexual behavior, affirming and promoting, really encouraging kids to experiment and so forth, which is what GLSEN does. And they, in the most graphic ways imaginable, they provide their curriculum to teach kids how to do all form of sexual perversion, and they teach them how to do it and encourage them to experiment with it. This is what Kevin Jennings is all about. It turns out that the schools are some of the safest environments in the country, statistically. No one's saying that we need to take our hand off the ball here and not be vigilant in making sure that schools remain safe. But Kevin Jennings and his current position in the current Safe Schools Czar office does the exact opposite. They are creating an environment in the public schools that are unsafe. We have the CDC coming out with a study, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that has established that 1 out of every 5 gay men have AIDS. That is mind-boggling. Yet people like Kevin Jennings encourage kids, young boys who are sexually confused, who might have conflicted feelings, sexual feelings, to go ahead and dive right in and experiment with that homosexual behavior with a 1 out of 5 chance that they themselves are going to contract HIV/AIDS. That is criminal from my perspective.
Well, and I think it exposes something else too, Matt. We've talked several times about this very pernicious idea of letting no crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
This kind of exposes, though, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of things, that some crises, not all crises, are created equal, because it hasn't been but just a few weeks or months ago that you would have thought from national news coverage that the single greatest crisis affecting the United States was bullying against homosexual children in schools. Now, unless the president and others are prepared to call his National Commission on Fiscal Responsibility pro-bullying, then this is less of a problem than it was portrayed to us in the media, because these guys are saying that one of the places that we can cut funding and save our nation fiscally is the $1.8 billion that this group gets each year. And you would think that this was the prime focus of their group would be to stop bullying against their prototypical children, which would be those that they call homosexual.
Right.
It's
they've pigeonholed into that identity.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing is that these political games fall apart when fiscal matters creep up, even in the minds of those who toy with liberal ideas. But when it affects their pocketbook, they flee very, very quickly from that and say, "Wait a minute, we got to fix something."
Well, when the almighty dollar, when reality meets up with rhetoric and there's money involved, a lot of times the rhetoric will give way. They say, we know we've been fudging all this stuff and exaggerating and using this notion of preventing bullying in order to further the homosexual agenda. But right now we really could use that $1.8 billion that has been earmarked for the promotion of homosexuality in our public schools. We could use that for perhaps more pressing things. That's what this Fiscal Commission has determined. I don't know one way or the other where they stand ideologically on the promotion of homosexuality, which is in public schools, which is Kevin Jennings' primary focus in life and has been his stated agenda as a founder of GLSEN. And Shawn, this is a great place to start, and it would certainly I think, appease at least 52 United States congressmen, House Republicans, who signed a letter to President Obama demanding that Jennings be fired. And there's a growing number of individuals who are demanding that this radical left-wing homosexual activist and apparently pederast sympathizer be given the pink slip. He needs to be given the pink slip. It is just unconscionable that $1.8 million of taxpayer funds would be given to this man to promote a demonstrably destructive lifestyle from a spiritual, from a physical, from an emotional standpoint. I hope that that Congress and President Obama will heed this suggestion from the Fiscal Commission, President Obama's commission, and will send Kevin Jennings packing. Well, folks, at Liberty Counsel, we stand against this type of promotion of a sin, of destructive behavior in our public schools. And as long as such promotion of such behavior is occurring, we will be at the forefront and in order to educate you, the public, and let you know. Join us in helping to prevent this. Go to lc.org to learn more about Liberty Counsel or give us a call at 800-671-1776.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.